Morning, everybody. TW here. I got to go to the range earlier this week, and this is going to be just an update video, or another installment, I should say, on the 6mm rem and what I got for some groups with a couple different powders. These top four here across the top are with IMR 4831. And these bottom four here are with re26. And what I normally do is, again, I'm able to seat these bullets out much longer than factory. Factory overall length is about 28, 25, and these are over 3.1. So quite a bit of difference. The base of this bullet is still in the neck. Everything stays in the neck. So I've got full availability of this case capacity. So what we've got here is my top load was 46 grains. You don't see the top load for either of these powders. I have them on the back, and I'll flip it over afterwards. So we started out with 44. What I do on these ladders, because this is the coarsest ladder adjustment I'll make. And I do this across the board with all my rifles. I pick a high, or I pick a basic starting load. You know, if I've got no experience with the cartridge, no reason to expect it to be anything different than factory normal standard, I'll start with a starting load, and I'll move up in half grain increments. So in this case, 44, 44 and a half, 45, 45 and a half, and then 46. With this 4831 powder. And with this caliber, I know that I can exceed factory recommendations because I've got such an increased powder capacity, and it's gonna greatly reduce chamber pressures. But I'm not after highest pressure. I'm not seeking the highest velocity. Kinda. I just want to get everything I can get out of the cartridge without pushing things too much. So 3100 is really what I'd like to see for this 105 grain. 243 is an honest 3000. This is a much bigger case. I'm loading into the same pressures. It shouldn't be a big deal to reach 31. And I've broken 31 here with these loads. And pretty good accuracy with it. This particular day, it was really hot. It was over 90 degrees. And I didn't have as much time as I wanted to shoot these. So although everything's fine and realistic and reliable, it's if I were to do it normally, I would have probably given it twice the amount of time. I usually shoot a group and then let it cool. Or at the most, I'll shoot 2 groups and then let it cool. This one here, I shot all these groups with a powder. I let it cool for about a half an hour, and then I shot all these. So by the time I got to the top load, and you'll see the markings, the barrel was really hot. It was hotter than I like to have a barrel ever be. If you can't hold your hand on it, it's too hot to be shooting, and this barrel was too hot to hold. So the groups reflect that. But here we go. Starting with 44 grains, it got me a 7.96 inch group. Nice triangle. 2,925 feet per second average. This next one was a 1.47 at 44 and a half grains, and I did not get a single velocity read. I don't think I was centered over the screens, and that's why it didn't read. But somebody else was on the range, so I couldn't go out and adjust it. We moved over here to 45 grains, and I was at 1.01 inches. And I broke 3,000 on 3,025. And then over here, half a grain more made quite a difference. So I'm 100 feet per second between these two, which means about 50, based on these three, about 50 grains, 50 feet per second per half grain, which is quite a substantial jump. Usually you're closer to 30 or 40, 40 being more common. So I was really pleasantly surprised, and I got a 75 feet per second jump here. Now that'll also tell you some more information. You could be approaching a node. You could be leaving a node. Generally that'll show you some stuff. And the velocity, the group size almost halved. 641 was 45.5, and I hit 3,100 feet per second. So I was pretty happy with that. Not the best group it's shot, but it's, you know, right at or just over half an inch. So that's pretty good. Now again, I'll show you the top targets for both of these powders at the end. So let's move over to Reloader 26. And again, the same thing. I started at 47 this time, and the average was a flat 2,900 feet per second, and the group size was 6.66 or 0.666, and a pretty nice looking group. Step up a half a grain to 47. The velocity jumped up about 40 feet per second. 9.27, so just under an inch, and one of them here is out. So, you know, although I shot properly, I don't think anything here got away from me. That looks like a little bit of a flyer. So that, you know, that might be a smaller group if I shot it again. I load 5 cartridges per load, and generally I'll shoot a group of 3, and I'll throw one over the chronograph, and I'll just call it good. And then if I get good results, accuracy-wise, I'll come back and I'll load more, and then I'll shoot multiples over the chronograph and get a real average. So this was a little different. I shot all 3 of these. I shot 3-shot groups. All of them went over the chronograph. So this is an average of 3 shots. Step up to 48 grains of Reloader 26, and this was the stellar group of the day. And there's 3 bullet holes there, almost in one hole, 0.315 inches center to center. And all of these are center to center. You just look at some of these and they look bigger than what I say they are, because they're not outside to outside, they're center to center. And I'll show you how I do that in case you don't know. You take your caliper, and let's use one here that's got good nice round holes. So you go to the outside of one hole, and you move this over to the inside of another hole. You know, follow me? So we are, by going from the outside of one to the inside of another, the farthest two apart, you get the center to center. So we come up here with, I said 927. This one here, I measure 9.4, 9.35. So a few thousandths difference. And that's how I measure my group sizes. Always center to center. So you do it. We'll do another one here. This is the 315. This one here is harder because you can't see an inside edge on one of the bullets. So you got to kind of guesstimate at what it would be, where it would be at. And it's going to be somewhere in that range. And again, it's a tough one to measure. And this one comes up, this time I measure it comes up 3.12. Okay, I don't know how good you could see that. 3.12. So we got a 3 here, a 1, and then 2 thousandths more. So that's how I do center to center measurements. This one here is really good. I'm only 3015, which isn't awful. I mean, it's 3,000 feet per second. It's nothing to sneeze at. But I really like that to be 3115. So we'll see what we can do. Move over here to the last group on this page. Again, reloader 26, the same 0.666 inch group with 2 bullets in a hole and one to the side. So this one here might be tightened up as well, seeing that that's outside a group of 2. You know, I might have pulled that ever so slightly. Now the wind was really good. It was mostly a 0 value wind, slightly coming out of the southeast, which put it just slightly across my face, right to left. But really not enough to worry about because it was just breeze. It was not a wind. And it's not so common for us there. Usually we have a bad wind. We shoot up against a mountain, and the thermals start typical day in the summertime right about 10 a.m. and 10 a.m. is when we can start shooting. This was about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So different. It made a big difference. The day had already warmed up, the mountainside had already warmed up, and you don't get that thermocline of air racing up that mountain or down the mountain. So 3065. So, you know, a little better than 3050. Getting to a number that I could live with. I'm sure I'd like to see that group, but like I say, you know, we got 2 touching and 1 outside. We might be able to do, I could almost guarantee I could do better than that. I'll show you the brass in a minute. Let's flip this over and look at this last one. I can't really see the screen, so I'm hoping that this is good for you. Zoom in a little bit. I'm hoping you can see everything. Just 2 targets here. And again, the barrel is very hot. Very, very hot. So I really discount these almost completely, except for velocity. So here's 3 shots with reloader 26 at a 1.9, almost 2-inch group. The previous one was 6.66. So not impossible. That's how it goes sometimes. But this is probably the loosest group this gun has ever shot. So another reason why I really discount it and blame the barrel heat on this one. Here is 4831 with a 9.38 at 3124. So this is nothing to sneeze at. I mean, it's under an inch. It's just, you know, we've seen under half an inch. So when you start seeing those consistently, you know, around 0.5, 0.6, when you see something that's just under an inch, it doesn't really thrill you so much anymore. But 3124 really thrills me. 4831 IMR it's a nice powder. It's always been a good, moderately slow powder. So I'm not really I was going to say excited, but not really surprised that it, you know, it got me this numbers. So that's pretty good. I will shoot these again. And that's the last of what I shot with this. Everything was with a 105 grain spear. Everything was at 100 yards. Rear bag, Harris bipod front. And that's the same way I did the last group too. So there it is. It's really shaping up. I'm really happy. And I've got next is going to be H4831. I don't know if I'm going to go to the trouble of doing regular and shortcut. It's different. Different is different. So I really should. But I also would like to try 4350. Some manuals show it right up there, and other manuals show it as one of the slower powders, meaning, you know, mid 28s for a top velocity. Other manuals show it right there, 3100. So who do you believe? It's been a good powder all along, so it's worthy of a test. So probably what I'll do is shortcut, 4831 shortcut from Hodgdon, not IMR, and IMR 4350 next time. Let's look at primers really quick. If you remember last time, I was using these old RWS primers. Where am I here? Yeah, it should be okay. I can't see the screen, guys. I'm sorry. This is a 250 pack of RWS primers, large rifle standard. And this time here, we used Federal Premium's match, large rifle match. And we got some cratering last time, about halfway through. So here is Reloader 26. So we got 47, 47 and a half, 48, 48 and a half, 49. And the red ones are 48, 31. So we got, 44, 44 and a half, 45, 45 and a half, 46. So none of the primers are flat, and just starting to see a crater here on this one. Now I'm going to blame the gun, the breech face of the gun, and I'm going to get this up here. I'm going to get up here so that you can see this better and maybe even get a better view of it. All right, there we go. It's a Winchester Super case, 6mm rim, and I'm hoping that you can just see that cratering. It's just starting there. Just starting. So the primer looks really good. Here's a starting load next to it. So it's a tiny bit flatter. And again, I'm showing this because everybody shows it. I don't like to go by just primers. I'll use the head expansion. I'll measure it right here and I'll get a better idea of what's going on. Plus report, plus bolt lift. And all of these cartridges go in and out like absolute butter. This gun is so smooth. The bolt lift, the bolt closure. It feels like you're not even chambering a bullet. It literally, you literally cannot feel the bullet chambering. Loaded round chambering. So there we go with, let's see, red is 4831. And here is Reloader 26. Silver primer is a bottom load, which was, was it 47? Yeah, 47 grains was Reloader 26. And then 49 grains. And I believe 49 is over book maximum in most manuals. Again, don't repeat this for yourself. Don't try this yourself. Start low, work up. My gun, I can seat the bullets out very long. It's a long action and a medium length cartridge. But you can see just by the primers that there's just a slight bit of flattening and just a slight bit of cratering. But cratering is a sign of high pressure as long as your gun is normal correct, meaning not a large hole in a small firing pin. All right, guys, I've yapped at you here almost 20 minutes. It's just a post-range video. Hope you didn't find it too boring. I'm doing it largely for myself. I'm sure there's a couple of geeks out there who love seeing this kind of stuff, and you don't see much on 6mm rem, so I hope it trips their trigger as it does mine. But that's what I got. The rest of these bullets are going to get pulled to save the powder and the primers. God bless everybody. Hope you have a great day. Beautiful day here in New England. 57 degrees after 101 yesterday. Gotta love it. CW out.